Okay, lots of busy stuff going on today, and not really probably enough time to talk about all of it. They've just opened up the Benghazi hearings in Washington. We will talk about that a little later in this hour of the program. We have a number of guests coming up. Of course, you've got a lot of national news going on, most of that dominating today for top story. You've got the vice president saying, I'm not running for president. You've got the Paul Ryan situation in the House of Representatives. Is he being supported? Is he not? You've got Hillary Clinton testifying this morning. Then I've got some people coming by in a few minutes talking about college night, followed by an update from the Twin Falls County Sheriff's Department. And in the next hour of the program, Rebecca Milsoika will be joining us. She is a candidate, of course, looking for re-election to the Twin Falls City Council. Tomorrow we have a council challenger who's going to be joining us. I will make it clear, and I said this a month ago, I am not going to get swamped by candidates at the last minute next week. If you didn't make arrangements already, I may not have the time. I made the offer. I did it online. I did it numerous times on air. So be it. We'll leave it at that. 8 minutes after 8 o'clock. Bill Colley with you on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. 44 to get our morning started. Actually, it seems quite nice outside. I stepped out about half an hour ago just to get a little air, and no breeze really to speak of. So cool morning, but you wouldn't really notice it as if you had a sweatshirt on, as I did. Wasn't any serious problem. So there's a discussion going on in Washington right now other than the Benghazi hearing, and that is who's going to be the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. Republicans, of course, have the majority. You would think that this would be simple, but Republicans are divided. About 40 of them are in something called the Freedom Caucus. The number 2 guy in that caucus was on the show with us yesterday, and that is Idaho's own Raul Labrador. The Weekly Standard. I got out of bed this morning and I opened up my computer. One of the first things I happened to see was this. Congressman Raul Labrador of Idaho emerged from a meeting of the House Freedom Caucus to announce that a supermajority of the caucus supports Paul Ryan as Speaker of the House. Quote, we tried to reach a consensus, but we were not able to reach the 80% threshold, unquote, needed to issue a formal endorsement, Labrador said. Now, Ryan made a comment a couple of days ago saying unless all of these caucuses endorse him, he would not seek the speakership. So there's no endorsement from Labrador's caucus. Albeit he did say most of the people sitting in it said they would go along with Ryan, but no formal endorsement. The latest is that Ryan is going to consider that an endorsement and that he will now pursue becoming Speaker of the House of Representatives. Labrador, though, still not happy with the possibility that it would be Ryan as Speaker. He was caught coming out of a conference by reporters from C-SPAN and from a few other networks as well. Take a listen to some of his comments.
Nothing. I mean, he just announced yesterday. This is a big decision. I don't know that there's any sticking points. It's just we need to know if he's going to change the nature of the House. He's going to change the way Washington works. That's all we have been asking for is very simple process changes that actually make members feel empowered.
Did he reassure you on the whole question of his desire to change the rules with regard to vacating the chair?
That's the one sticking point that I think is going to be an issue for some people. He wants to change the process in the House. He says that he's been trying for 18 years since he's been here in the House. That is one of the questions that we have is why it has taken 18 years to get to that point. But I think he's an honest broker. We all like Paul Ryan. I don't think there's anybody in there who doesn't really like him. There might, as far as I know. But this is not about personality.
The Daily Signal today is trying to give a rundown on Ryan's positions. Some of those obviously change over the years. In fact, they do for a great many people in life, even if you're not in politics. Here is where Paul Ryan stands on 13 key policy issues. Number 1, abortion. Ryan is pro-life, and he has tried to defund Planned Parenthood. Number 2, budget. Ryan has spearheaded several budget proposals during his time. Ryan's 2014 proposal sought to balance the budget within 10 years. 3, education. Ryan voted for No Child Left Behind in 2001, but then later decided to support the A+ Act to give more control over funding to local communities. Number 4, Ryan opposed President Obama's cap-and-trade initiative. 5, financial bailout. In 2008, Ryan was among those who voted for the $700 billion Troubled Asset Relief Program. 6, gun rights. Ryan has been a strong proponent of gun rights, voting numerous times against background checks. Proponent, by the way, means he supports the Second Amendment. He is a bow hunter. He is also a member of the Congressional Sportsmen's Caucus. 7, health care. Ryan has opposed Obamacare since its passage, and he recently helped spearhead partial repeal by means of the budgetary tool known as reconciliation. In other words, starving Obamacare. Number 8, international. Ryan wanted to lift the Cuban embargo as far back as 2002, but has since later changed his mind. He says because he has met many Cuban immigrants and they were opposed. 9, immigration. Ryan has supported immigration reform bills that included amnesty for millions of illegal immigrants in the past. That appears to be one of the major sticking points. Number 10, labor unions. Ryan remains unwavering in his support of federally mandated prevailing wages, which is normally an issue you would hear coming from Democrats. But he has the backing of labor unions in Wisconsin. Number 11, marriage. Ryan voted in 2006 in favor of the Marriage Protection Act. Number 12, national security. Ryan voted to go to war in both Afghanistan and Iraq, later opposing an early military withdrawal. And number 13, school choice. Ryan has supported increasing school choice options for families. So, a mixed record, if you will. Mainly conservative Republican, couple of points in there that you might describe as being somewhat liberal. 43, Bill Colley with you on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. Here's the question for you. What's the problem with the guy? And is it just the fact that he may not be trustworthy or that he's making a number of demands of his peers in the House of Representatives? You can reach our program today by dialing 736-0300. That is 736-0300. My email address is bill.colley@townsquaremedia.com. That's bill.colley@townsquaremedia.com. Can I add this too as well? When Labrador was with us yesterday morning, he said he would still support Daniel Webster, and Webster remains his first choice. Webster telling Fox News, indeed, that he's not dropping out of any race for Speaker.
I am surely interested in being Speaker because I'm fighting against the way the process is, a power-based process. I want to see everything based on principle.
Based on principle. When was the last time somebody actually said that and said it in a heartfelt way working in Washington? In other words, he's not for sale. Not to anyone. He's got a core of beliefs. He's supported by the Freedom Caucus, and they still would like to see someone of that stature running the show. Somebody questioned this, though, yesterday because Labrador said when he was on the show with us, he did not want a position in leadership. He doesn't want to be Speaker, Majority Leader, or Majority Whip. Because he said, I don't feel I can lead a revolution that way. And somebody commented on one of the Facebook pages that I happened to see later in the afternoon, who would want a guy then who doesn't want to be in charge, who doesn't want to be number one, who doesn't want to be the leader? Well, take a look at Trey Gowdy today. Gowdy is knee-deep right now in the Benghazi hearings. If Gowdy happened to be the Speaker of the House, you wouldn't have Gowdy conducting these hearings. And Trey Gowdy knows those are his best skills, and this is his crusade. So being Speaker, he turned it down for that very reason, because the Speaker's role essentially is just to stand there and run the show every day. Make sure legislation comes and goes, or block it, or bring it to the floor. And for a lot of people, they don't want that sort of life. They see that as being more of a clerk than they do, perhaps, being right down in the trenches and doing all of the action. Ted Cruz was asked his opinion of Paul Ryan yesterday while he was appearing on the O'Reilly Factor on Fox News Channel. O'Reilly felt that Cruz was trying to duck the issue. Now, remember, Cruz serves in the Senate and not in the House of Representatives, so he doesn't actually have a vote on this.
You know, I'm staying out of that.
Come on. You're a powerful senator. You're a conservative guy. Do you support Paul Ryan or not?
It's a question for House Republicans to make, but I'll tell you this.
So I'm going to say you don't. I'm going to say no, because if you supported him, I know you would have said, look, I think the guy's right for the job. So you don't want him there.
Actually, Bill, I have consistently stayed out of House leadership elections, but let me tell you what I think the next speaker should be. The next speaker should be someone who takes seriously honoring the promises we made to the men and women who elected us. That's what Republican leadership should do.
He's certainly a serious man. He may not be as conservative as you are, but that's what I'm trying to get at. I mean, come on, Senator. Do people have to be as conservative as you are in order to serve?
I am genuinely staying out of it. I understand that it makes for better TV for me to get in the middle of that, but I'm going to leave that to House Republicans.
So there you have it. Ted Cruz not going to take that fight. Would prefer instead to look for another hill to do battle on at this point. Here's the thing. He obviously didn't give any endorsement to Paul Ryan. Read into that what you like. On the other hand, he said, I'm not going to get involved whatsoever, which tells you he feels that it's not a fight that he wants to get involved with because it's a fight he feels that could, in the long run, diminish him. He is, after all, a candidate running for the Republican nomination for president. It's 8:16. Bill Colley with you on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. In the next half hour, we'll bring up this Benghazi situation. Trey Gowdy has just turned the microphone over to Elijah Cummings. Cummings is a flaming leftist congressman from the state of Maryland, the Baltimore area, and his role in this is to try and exonerate Hillary Clinton or to lead her along so that she can get that media press at the end of the day that says, which no matter what happens, media is going to say, Hillary Clinton really showed those Republicans, vote for Hillary. That will be your response from the New York Times, which, though, today said, the editorial board will say that, but today a writer at the New York Times has a story saying her story on this has changed many, many times, on Benghazi and on the emails. Now, those of you out there who are flaming lefties as well, you don't call the program much, but we know that you listen because you can't avoid the truth. It's like a moth flying near a flame or a light. She has changed her story deliberately over and over and over again. The New York Times is reporting this. The Times is not, repeat, it is not a conservative newspaper. It is the Bible of American liberalism. It is your own. It is the leadership when it comes to fellow traveling. So if the Times is finding issue with her, not, as I said, the editorial page, that is run by a lot of her commie fellow travelers, and they will do anything to pull her across the finish line next year to make her the next president of the United States. Either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. Both are appealing to the crowd that runs that newspaper. But for the most part, establishment media, no matter what happens today, she could be caught in a bold-faced lie today, and they will say that Republicans forced her into it, that they ran down to the witness table, grabbed her arms, twisted them behind her back until she told the lie and looked bad. That's how this is going to be covered. Coming up in just a few minutes, we have a couple of young women coming by talking with us about something called College Night. You may have young people in your family looking to head off to college, and they'll be giving you some ideas on how you can get more details about all of that. In the meantime, we'd also like to remind you, have you noticed any fading of your floors, furniture, pictures, cabinetry, etc.? It may be a result of too much sunshine, that is UV light coming through your windows. You could get window tints for your home or your office, even your automobile, and you could save on electric bills in the summer because it'll cut down on heat coming through. Remember, you can get a free estimate by calling Tint Lady at 736-8469 or go online at tintladyidaho.com. It's a locally owned and operated business, a quarter century now of experience in the Twin Falls area. 1887 Highland Avenue East in Twin Falls, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday by appointment only, closed Sundays. Did we mention again? A free estimate. They'll come out and do a free estimate. And remember, don't squint, get tint.